Hey everybody, it's Matt Orr again from Wet Ink Games, and right now I'm joined by Charles Ferguson-Avery, this artist and writer and layout designer, has brought you such projects as World War Occult, Into the Weird and Wild, Appalachian Gothic series of zines, and also done all the art for Never Going Home. So, Charlie, welcome to this this conversation.
It's weird to hear all the work in one sitting, especially considering like all that stuff happened in the course of like 3 years or something like that.
I think maybe it's getting on 4 years since World War Occult launched. Maybe.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Anyway, yep. As Matt said, like that's my gig, and still working to this day. So
still working. Hey, it's still working. That's great. All right, so we want to give you some as if you needed any create internet controversy, because I hear there's this the controversy creates cash is a concept that I've been introduced to. So we're going to test it out. So I want you to tell me what the best thing of all these different categories is. Be bold. Take a stance here. The best. What is the best? So, Charlie, what's the best cartoon?
best cartoon. Oh God, that's gonna be a tough call. Softball. I'm gonna go with Adventure Time. That's the one that comes to mind currently.
That's fine. What's the best fruit?
Best fruit. Apples. Apples. It's gonna be apples.
Classic. What about the best comic?
Best comic, Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin and Hobbes. Right out of the gate. All right, I'm going to challenge your. You don't have to look for the deep cuts. I want you to be honest. What's the best OSR product?
Oh boy. Okay. So.
It could be a deep cut if you want, but.
If I had to pick. Oh, of course. It's got to be Knave. It's got to be Knave. In part just because I am hopelessly in love with it. I am currently running it. And I want Ben Milton to like me. There, I said it.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, Ben Milton, if you're listening to this, I would love to do some art for any one of your products coming up. Anyway, yeah. So there's my pitch.
It's it's an interview show for other projects.
Yes.
So this one, what is the best folk tale from Appalachia?
So, not going to pick mine in the sense that I like it because I like it. If I had to pick the best one, I honestly like my dad's because it is brutal. It's the most realistic thing, and it kind of like there is magic to it, but it's just it cuts right to the bone, and it's truly the most horrifying because it's also the most realistic.
Yeah, it's got a little more down to earth with it. That's Lean Town, right? That's
yes.
The one was there. And then last one here. What's the best seafood?
Salmon on technicality.
Salmon on a technicality. Hey, TKO is still a KO. So we'll take it.
Fair enough.
All right. Thanks for running through that. So now, I know that when you worked on Into the Weird and Wild, you had, it was called The Trees Aren't Your Friends, or the Forest Doesn't Like You. What was the name of the little like extra book that came with it?
The Woods Do Not Care for You. Never forget that. And that I can't remember how I came up with it. I didn't plan for that to be the tagline. But the more it just ended up being one of those things that like was a quick little go-to, and it was immediately evocative, and it just sort of spiraled into like I had to use it for all the promotional material at that point.
Sure. So I want to ask you about like any personal experiences you may have with the woods not caring for you. I know you're a person who likes to get out to the trees when you can. So do you have any tales of the woods not caring for you?
One particular tale I can think of, which unfortunately, and this is part of the reason I wrote Into the Weird and the Wild, is I love the forest, I love bushcraft, I love camping, and I haven't been able to really do it that much because, I live in town now. I got a lot of stuff on my plate, and, it was my love letter to the uncaring wilds. But back to the story. I recall one time back in my Boy Scout days when we went on a camping trip, seemingly innocuous, nothing really special about it, middle of fall. And in the middle of the night, we had a massive temperature drop to the point where they put out warnings. There was nothing we could do. We just had our tents. And I stupidly had asked beforehand, or made sure that I would have a tent all to myself because, I'm one of the older scouts now, and finally, I don't have to bunk with anybody. What they don't tell you is that it's better to bunk with somebody for, the body warmth inside the tent. It got so cold that I woke up the next morning and my boots, which I kept inside the tent, like a heathen, were frozen solid. And I had to start a fire and warm them up for a good 20 minutes, literally cooking my boots just so that I could actually cram my feet into them. And when I say solid, I mean you could throw a rock at it and it would have that sound.
The plink sound. Yeah. Wow. That's a temperature drop, all right.
Mm-hmm.
No one else, none of these other scrubs with their shared bunks had this problem of the frozen boots.
Oh no, we all did. That was a thing. For the record, pro tip: take your boots, keep them inside your sleeping bag so that they stay nice and warm and don't freeze or get taken in the middle of the night. That's happened. Not to me, but an animal walked through somebody's tent, the camp at night, and you can't really do anything when there's a big animal running through the camp unless it's attacking you. So you just have to hope that it doesn't take anything important. And some guy lost a shoe because of it.
How big of an animal are we talking about?
We think it was either a coyote or a small bear.
A small bear.
Yeah. So we're thinking it was probably a coyote, or who knows? Maybe somebody had a dog, somebody set loose a dog in the middle of the night or something like that. Just yeah.
All right. Well, we didn't do. Thinking of not too much forest. Maybe there's a forest never going home supplement in the future. There's room for it, I guess. Some of the conflicts happen, in I guess the Ardennes was more World War II, but
yeah.
Anyway, that's a hacky transition to the next question, which is I want to ask you about Never Going Home, because that's the big project that you've done with us at Wedding Games. You've done, that's all. It's all been that kind of stuff, right? But
I'm thinking they were up to 5, 6 books at this point.
I think this will be, when the dossiers come out, there will be 7 Never Going Home books, because there were 4 in the first Kickstarter, and there are 3 more campaign dossiers. Although it's only 6 books if you count it by how much art you had to draw, because I think we didn't do any new art for the, I think one of the first 4 books has only reused art. It has no unique art.
Fair enough.
But spoilers to all of you who are coming in droves to buy it this weekend at GenCon, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say that, but every time that Never Going Home goes to a convention, they sell out. I tried one fun little story, not to Shanghai the conversation, but I went to PAX last year.
Well,
was going to go to PAX this year, but And sure enough, like they had like the nice big never going home banner. And my plan was that like I was gonna show up and like, like tell the IGDN people, because like they knew my face and like I got in contact with them. I was gonna like sign a couple of books just for like funsies and like,
Yeah.
so somebody could buy a book and surprise, it's got a little illustration in it. I got there on convention was on Friday, started on Friday. I got there on a Saturday. By noon, they told me they were gone. So I just kind of like got a picture. I got a picture with, oh God bless him, I can't remember his name.
That was running the booth.
Yeah, I just got a picture with him, like,
Hmm.
standing in front with like one of the people attending with the sign, just like, hey, made it.
Yeah. To be fair, the other half of that story is they have to carry a lot of books, so there weren't that many copies. It's not like when we sold out like a pallet of books. It was a stack of books. So, but still, it's cool to say like we sold out at GenCon and then we sold out at PAX.
Yes, exactly.
But specifically, like, tell us something about some of the new art that people are going to see in the new set of books. Like, what has that been like for you, drawing these very specific things now? Like with we want a bunch of submarine stuff, and we want a bunch of like Russian stuff, and we want like the Turkish soldiers. Like, those are different things than you had focused on before with the more French, German frontline stuff before. So just talk about what was like to work on the dossiers.
So it was kind of weird because all of a sudden the switch, I went from being the artistic direction, in the sense of like, I had a bunch of these illustrations and then I just kind of made more of them, to with these books, you guys came to me and I had to kind of like go back to the concepting stage of things of like, oh God, like what do they look like here? Because I couldn't use the same uniforms, I couldn't use like some of the same style, and like each one had a very different feel. And so yeah, it was like back to the drawing board, and like I had to kind of like start from square one. And yeah, like so it was kind of weird because like I was right back to like figuring out what like their uniforms would look like. Like what the actual mood was for, especially with like the book covers, in the sense that like when I painted them, they had to, each one has like sort of a color key to it. And I also had to like, I think I had the most fun with the submarine one, especially with the cover for that.
Yeah, that cover looks pretty great with the ship outline and the tentacles coming up.
It turned out
like
so
that.
well. Like,
yeah, you did good work. You did good work. It's good.
Thank you. That's
Do you want to? So this kind of the next kind of project. I don't know. Like we can kind of combine this together. But like I know what the next project you're working on with Wet Ink Games is. But so you can talk about that one. But I want to open it up to you. You can talk about whatever you are working on, whatever is coming next from Charles Ferguson-Avery.
So I will say there's about technically three things I'm working on. Okay. The one is, of course, the next big thing for Wet Ink Games, which, can I say the name? I think we've probably announced it at this point. But
oh, yeah. I think, this was officially announced, I think it's been a while. So, like, people know it's coming.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it's not like some weird spoiler. But so in addition to doing some artwork for it, I am also in charge of the layout for Dark Places and Demogorgons. And it is set to the style of a children's composition notebook describing cryptids and monsters in small town, I believe, Americana.
Right. It's sort of any town, USA.
Mm-hmm. So currently what I've been doing is I've been playing around with like, now like I did layout for all my books, and now for the first time I'm actually getting paid to do layout for this book, and it's kind of neat because like I get to play around with all this fun stuff. Also doing illustrations for that, but so that's the big one. The second big one is I am currently writing book. It is called I'm just referring to it as Project Cobblestone for now. But for those who are familiar with Into the Weird and Wild, and my book, and Veins of the Earth, which is another OSR book, it is akin to those. However, instead it has to do with cities. So it is going to be basically like a dungeon master's manual of how to handle weird, creepy, haunted cities, how to run them for players, how to give them interesting encounters, and how they are different than a dungeon, but can still be used as these game, can still have these game mechanics applied to them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the third one, which is I have fallen head over heels for the medium that is a zine, or zines. And I'm basically just waiting to save up so I can buy a laser printer, because I have like nice, colorful construction paper, and I just want to print out a bunch of weird, weird sketchbooks, art, D&D stuff. Who knows?
Right.
Of course, would have been great if I could have got into that before all the conventions shut down. But win some, lose some.
When they come back, I think they'll come back with a vengeance. People will be extra hungry for weird D&D stuff printed on construction.
I'm showing up with a stack of weird things I made during this quarantine.
I think it's great. And this Project Cobblestone, it's like all ears. I'm ready for that. That sounds very intriguing.
I can't wait to do it. The problem is not a problem, but so there's one person in the OSR community. Do not know their name. I only know their persona is Skirbles. Many people have heard of them. They're very popular. They're a phenomenal game designer. And they gave me a mixed review of Into the Weird Wild. However, they did have me dead to rights. And I'm trying to take the criticism that they had from that and actually apply that to the book. Along with, there is some stuff that I did in Into the Weird and Wild that I don't want to do again. And there's stuff it was my first D&D book.
Yeah.
I can do better looking back at it.
Sure. I'm familiar with that feeling. Even being super proud of something that you've done at the time, even a couple years later, you're like, I know so much more now. I could do so much better.
Yeah. Pro tip, hire an editor. Everybody listening.
That's that message has come up in another one of these interviews that I've done. So editors are very key. Make sure you have an editor for your project.
They're the last and most important 20% of a project.
Yeah, certainly. All right. Well, thanks for that. Those glimpses of the future there. Now, are you ready to do 5 minutes of pichorama?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So
yes, there we go. Okay.
I'm going to start the timer, and we're going to have 5 minutes. Here we go. So what I want to do is I want to take all the imagery of Carnival, but all of those performers are all assassins.
Okay.
So that's the starting point. So what does that look like? If you and I are going to figure out right now what we're doing with that, what's that going to look like?
I'm going to say it's got to be a card game. It's got to be a card game because you can get some beautiful art for that.
Okay.
Card game in the sense, on top of that, I'm not too big on moving little chips around the board anymore. That's a youngster's game. I'm far too old. I need my cards. And then on top of that, you've got the cards. You can go deck building. Maybe it's about building an entourage of Carnival assassins, outfitting them, something along those lines, and basically trying to build some sort of, the whole point of deck building, build a machine.
Sure.
Why? I don't know, but
so I like where this is going. Do you like I like the deck builder, but then you don't like moving little cards around. But I've almost got this idea of sort of almost like a what is it? The Jets versus the Cats? What's the thing, right? Where the
West Side Story.
Yeah, West Side Story, right? That's the two games, right? Where it's not just they're all assassins, but you could you could push it a little bit, like they're all trying to kill each other, right? So you almost make it into a combat game where you've got like your gameplay tabletop. Your tabletop is like your gameplay and becomes almost like a kind of a combat game where you're like kind of trying to flip the cards into locations so that like this assassin or whatever, you take that card and you toss it on the table in such a way that you're trying to reach and cover other people's cards. And so like you've incapacitated them because you've covered them with, or you killed them, I guess, if you've covered them with the assassin card.
So it's like a dexterity game. It's literally a dexterity game. You
sure,
like
but I like the idea of having that deck building element where you're like, you are shopping around, you are trying to build your engine, but then like there is sort of like, and now the scrum, and everybody tosses their cards on the table in sort of a way to I don't know, to what? I mean, it would be depending on what the cards do, like what layer they're in the stack or whatever. Like, I think some positioning would be fun with that too.
I would say go simple with it. Some sort of like point system involving not point system, because that gets too technical. It's a dexterity game about throwing goddamn carnival cards. Just it's supposed to be simple, but it could be about matching up as many colors as you possibly can. So like you have this deck building element where you are something scrum, where every time you toss a card, you're trying to, like you said, like match them up. Like, so you're trying to get like 3 stacks of red or something like that. Maybe you have these special cards that like chain together. So it's like if you, they complete a chain or something like that, all while the same, so that you're building it up for the like actual like tossing part. And then of course you could even, you could even put like dead cards in the middle of the board, like things that you are not supposed to hit.
Ooh, I like that.
And then somehow you frame this all as you frame this all as like a carnival parade like gone wrong, or like bloody, and like the gang, the carnival, the 2 floats, you're in charge of a float or something.
2 crews are meeting when they shouldn't be, or something like that. They're competing for the access to the cheering fans.
And yeah, and you're just like tossing cards out, like trying to like I'm trying to match up 3 red, or like maybe there's like this very big money this big money combination where if you get green red and you get a stack of that, then you get lots of points or something like that.
Right, lots of points. I like it. So would you do we got about 30 seconds left here. So what would you do? Would you want to do this straight up, like feathers and sequins and like people smiling, or would you want to have like a sinister? I mean, obviously, how sinister would you want to make the art if you were doing the art?
I can do sinister for my own stuff, but for the sake of this, and especially since it's a card game, like I would prefer it alludes to violence, but not actually like not out in open blood. Damn it.
Oh, I like it. That's great. That was 5 minutes of good ideas. I like it. So thanks for doing pichorama, 5-minute pichorama. That's cool. So if you see that game coming in 2021, you watch this video, you saw it here first.
Yes, Asmodee. My name's Charles Ferguson-Avery. You can contact me at charlielikegrapes@yahoomail.eu. I can send you business cards. Apparently.
You keep trying to get hired to other companies while you're talking to me. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, who knows? Yahoo. Somebody should go set that up. That'd be fun. All right.
Please don't.
Charlie likes grapes. Another true fact you heard here first. Even though apples are his favorite fruit, apparently the best fruit. I didn't ask favorite. Apples are the best fruit. But Charlie likes grapes. There you go. Front goes around to the back. All right. Thanks so much, Charlie, for chatting with me for this time. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you're having an enjoyable Gen Con. To the extent that you can enjoying it this year, with the online only options, and we're going to hopefully win an Ennie as part of this deal. That'd be great. That'd be great.
So yeah, so you mentioned beforehand, this is by the time this airs, the Ennies will be announced, right?
I think I want to put this one up before that so that we won't know. So
Okay, so
this may be Friday's video.
might be Friday. In case it's not, I would like to oh god. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's do this because this way I have video documentation in case I want to lay down a bet. All right, so
Man.
interior art. Interior art. I am gonna say.
Okay.
I think Luca's gonna cinch that. As much faith as I have in myself and never going home, I think Luca's gonna cinch first, and I'll put I'm gonna put myself a second. So that's my current bet. It has been recorded on July 27th, 2020 at 8:12 p.m. So
timestamp. Yeah. There you go. For posterity.
If I'm right, I'm right.
All right. For great justice, take off every zig. Yes. Thanks, Charlie. It's been great to talk to you, and I think that's it. Say goodbye to all the people.
Goodbye, everybody. I will see you when the conventions are open again.
Yeah. Till then.